How have we bought 50 houses using none of our money? Stay tuned. Hey guys, this is Adam Johnson, the creator of REI Simplified, and I'm super excited to tell you today how we have bought many homes using none of our money, using a creative way called subject to. We are able to buy homes subject to the owner financing staying on the mortgage. What this means is the deed or ownership of the property transfers from said owner to Johnson Property Investments, our business, and the mortgage stays in the owner's name. We are then responsible for paying that mortgage directly, indefinitely. Now you may say, why would a person just give their house away but keep the mortgage open in their name? Many reasons. We've dealt with sellers who, left the area for business, left the area for military, got divorced. They had to upsize because of family. They had to downsize because of finances. You name it. There are many, many reasons why a person would be considered a desperate seller in this situation and need immediate help with what we do. Now, the way we use subject to, it works fast. We are literally able to buy a home in about 10 days. We do our due diligence, we do our home inspections, our deed title search, and all that kind of stuff to make sure that we're protected so that when we acquire the home, we're good to go for the long haul. Everything is very well documented as well. Again, I also protect the seller in this situation by documenting and showing that I, Johnson Property Investments, will and definitely make that mortgage payment on the first in full for the rest of the time I own the property until I can sell the home. Where we live in near the Fort Campbell, Kentucky area, which is a U.S. Army base near Clarksville, Tennessee, we have a lot of soldiers that get a VA loan, all right? Now, when they get a VA loan, when they buy a home with a VA loan, they pay zero down. They pay no closing costs, no upfront fees usually, nothing out of pocket usually, and they walk into a home. So now they have this $200,000 home they pay no money down to get into. Now let's fast forward maybe 2 years later and they have to leave the area because of military orders or you name it. When they sell the home, now they have about 10% closing costs. They have about 3% realtor fees for the selling realtor, 3% for the buying realtor, and about 3.5% to 4% for title, documentation fees, so on and so forth. So now they have 10% closing costs. So if that house, they bought it for $200,000, they need to sell it for about $220, give or take, to break even. Well, in most cases, a house does not appreciate in value over 10% in about 18 to 24 months. So what happens with that seller? Now the seller has to leave. They've been given orders, 4 or 5 months out. They're scared they can't sell the home because they can't cover closing costs without coming out of pocket a few $1,000s. They don't have that money. They don't want to deal with the management company. What do? They call me. I go in, I sit down with them. I explain to them why this is beneficial and how we can move fast with this situation. They're able to move forward, get out from under the house, not worry about the house, not worry about making mortgage payments ever again, and we have an asset. Now, what's the benefit to us? We, the business, gets a new asset. We do not have to go and leverage our credit to get funding for a new property. That's $200,000. You say that times 40 or 50 homes, we're in the millions now of leverage against our credit. We don't want that. I love to be able to take over an asset without having to leverage our credit. That's a very powerful part of what we do with subject to. We're able to purchase a property subject to, pay almost no money for the property, transfer ownership, and then we're gonna get a tenant. The tenant will then pay us more than our mortgage. We'll have that money to pay the mortgage and to reap the benefits of the positive cash flow. When we get these homes subject to, we instantly have positive cash flow. My goal is to have at least $300 of positive cash flow per property. That's what we shoot for when we do our criteria to identify a good or bad deal. So if you think about it, every time you acquire a new home, you're literally giving yourself a $300 a month raise. You won't get that from working 9 to 5. Every single month, every time I acquire a new property, I'm giving my business a $300, $400, $500 a month raise until we sell that home. If we don't sell it, that money just keeps coming in. Or we can refinance it, get it out of the seller's name. And there's reasons behind that. I'll get into future videos as far as cash out refi and those types of instruments for growing wealth. Not today. Let's keep it simple. REI Simplified. So let's sum it up. Subject to, you have two vehicles here. You have a deed and you have a mortgage. The deed shows ownership of the property. The mortgage shows financial responsibility of the property. In this subject to, the deed will transfer from owner to the business, which is in this case, Johnson Property Investments. The mortgage, which is financial responsibility, at least on paper, will show the owner's name, the seller's name. Now, What makes me legally liable to make this mortgage payment? My purchase agreement with that seller. My legal documentation with that seller says I, the business, will be financially responsible for paying that mortgage indefinitely. So I'm giving that seller the peace of mind of legally saying that I am responsible for paying that mortgage. And people say, they ask me, Adam, what happens if you don't pay? I tell them straight up, take me to court. If I cannot perform to what I say I'm gonna do in that purchase agreement, that legal documentation, take me to court. My responsibility is to do what I say I'm gonna do, and that's any business owner. You're only as good as your word. Subject to is a very unique way. I write about it in my book, First Step, the quick start guide to building your successful business in real estate. I talk about the 5 ways we acquire homes. Subject to is my favorite by far because little to no money, immediate cash flowing asset, growing your wealth. It's just great for many, many reasons. If you have any questions about subject to, realize there's many ways to do subject to. Every investor has their own criteria. What's a good deal? What's a bad deal? Mathematically, logistically, location, you name it. There's reasons to go after these types of deals. If you have any questions for me, please leave a comment. I respond to all comments and questions, I promise. If you found some value in this, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Help us grow this channel. Help us get in front of more young investors to help them start their businesses, help them start building wealth. And it's a pleasure for me to work with you guys. So my name is Adam Johnson, the creator of REI Simplified. I appreciate your time. We'll see you later.